your training feels like a second job. Too many exercises, too much conflicting advice, no real idea what's actually working. You're sweating, you're putting in the time, a month after month, you look the same and you lift the same. Does that sound familiar? When you are a dad, you don't need more exercises. You need to get genuinely good at a small handful of the right ones. That's it. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which ones, how to organize them, and how to keep getting stronger without eating into time that you just don't have. I did this for years, so I'm not throwing stones here. I lived this. New program every week, always tinkering, always convinced the next clever variation of exercise that I was going to do was the missing piece that I needed to really transform the way I looked. I was busy, still am, obviously, sweating my ass off in my garage and not really getting anywhere. The problem is that habits cost you in 3 different ways, and most of them you might not have even thought of. The first cost is you never really learn to get past the learning curve. So every exercise is a skill: coordination, balance, bracing, timing, control. Your body needs time and repetition to wire that in. And there's a whole nervous system side to lifting that not really many people talk about. Before your muscles can produce real force, your brain has to learn the movement well enough to trust it, well enough to execute it. Think back to when you first learned to drive. Hands all over the place, stalling at the lights, checking every mirror twice before you left, overthinking every little thing that you did. And it takes weeks of repetition and practice for that to become automatic and for you to just drive normal. Lifting is no different. The first few weeks of any new exercise, you're not really training the muscle per se, you're learning the movement. If you swap that movement every week and you're basically keeping yourself permanently stuck at the clumsy, inefficient beginner stage, you never reach the point where you can stop thinking about the technique and just start actually pushing and letting yourself go. And the part that catches most people out, it doesn't take a huge change to kind of reset that clock, reset the learning curve. So for example, going from a dumbbell shoulder press to a kettlebell press, it's the same pattern, it's the same muscles, it's basically the same job, it's the same exercise, but it's different enough just in terms of how the tool sits in your arm, for example, that it puts you back at square one with the learning curve. And so every swap pays that tax again. And the real results, the strength, the muscle, the confidence show up after that curve, after you've got past that stage. When you've stuck with something for long enough that the movement is automatic and all of your energy goes into the effort instead of the coordination. The second cost is imbalances. When you're picking exercises at random, whatever the Instagram algorithm feeds you that day, you've got no plan for which muscles you're supposed to be hitting. Gaps start to appear in your program and you end up doing loads of stuff that maybe feels good and looks productive and looks cool, but you're quietly skipping the big, boring movements that you should be doing in order to actually get stronger and change the way that your physique looks. Over time, you overwork some areas and completely neglect others. One side gets strong, the other side doesn't. And the balance that keeps you moving forward starts to slip a little bit. And that's where maybe some trouble starts. The twinges in your shoulder when you reach for the baby seat, the lower back giving out when you're mowing the lawn or fixing something in the garden. The knee starts making noise when you're going up and down the stairs. So a lot of these getting older aches and pains aren't necessarily really about age. They're about training gaps that you haven't really bothered to fix. So the basics aren't just about looking good. They're what keeps you strong enough and durable enough to keep up with your kids and, hopefully one day your grandkids, right? The third cost is decision fatigue. By the time you get to train, you've already made 1,000 decisions in the day. Work calls, school runs, conversations with the missus, like what's for dinner, why is the youngest still awake, right? Like all of these problems, maybe financial stuff, got all this stuff going on in your head. And so you're kind of running on fumes at that point. The last thing you need is for training to feel like a puzzle that you need to solve as well. You don't need a massive menu of exercises, loads of different sets and reps to figure out. a different plan every time you walk in the gym. That mental load is often the real reason that most guys give up. Too much choice doesn't necessarily help you. It's actually a bit of a hindrance. It freezes you. Training should be the opposite. The simpler the plan, the easier it is for you to just walk into the gym, walk into the garage, walk into the spare room, wherever it is you're training, and just doing the fucking work. So consistency is going to beat variety every single time there. The boring plan you actually do is always going to beat the perfect plan that you just keep reinventing. So what does that need to look like? 6 patterns, whole body, done. You can train nearly every muscle you've got with just 6 movement patterns. Horizontal push, so think push-ups or a bench press, right? And that's going to hit your chest, shoulders, and triceps. Horizontal pull, so think any kind of row, and that's going to hit your upper back and your biceps. Vertical push, so overhead press, that's going to hit your shoulders and your triceps. Vertical pull, so pull-ups, lat pull down, things like that, that's going to hit your back and your biceps. And then you've got a hinge movement, so bending at the hips, it's going to hit your glutes and your hamstrings and your lower back. And then you've got any kind of squat or lunge pattern that is going to hit your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings, and your overall lower body, right? 6 patterns, and you've basically covered your chest, shoulders, back, arms, legs, your entire body. And it honestly doesn't really matter which exercise you choose for each pattern. What matters is that you enjoy it, it's accessible for you, it doesn't hurt, right? And you've got the equipment and the space to actually do that movement. So for me, here's how those 6 map to my setup, which is my garage, right? Where I've got a set of adjustable dumbbells, some sandbags, pull-up bar, rings, right? So a horizontal push is going to be ring push-ups, ring dips, some form of barbell bench. Horizontal pull is going to be like a ring row or a bent over barbell row. Vertical push is going to be an overhead barbell push or like maybe some kind of handstand push-up. Vertical pull is going to be pull-ups on the rings, chin-ups, that kind of thing. For a hinge, I can do sandbag good mornings, I can do barbell deadlifts, I can do Romanian deadlifts. And then for the squat lunges, obviously I can do barbell squats, sandbag squats, front squats, walking lunges, Bulgarian split squats, all of those patterns, right? And I can just pick one exercise per pattern and I can commit to it for a long enough period of time and get strong at it and make progress. And it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. So how to organize it? Take those 6 patterns and you've essentially got a full body workout. Let's say you train 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, insert whatever days, whatever fits around your life and makes sense. You could follow the 3x3 protocol that I use with clients. There's a link in the description for that if you're interested in checking it out. It's free. Basically, it's 3 exercises per workout, 3 sets, done in about 30 minutes. So I would pick an exercise for a push, pull, or legs and get to work. Or I could split it in terms of push and squat one day, pull and hinge the next day. Doesn't really matter as long as I'm working across those patterns throughout the week. No guesswork, no complicated puzzle, no new plan to memorize every morning. And I would pick exercises from each of those brackets and perform them for 8 weeks at a time. And then I'd pick slightly different variations. And the progress is simple after that. You don't need fancy techniques. You do a little bit more time each time than you did before. Add a rep here, add a little bit of weight there, control the movement better. And that's it. You pick a rep range, say 5 to 10, for example. When you hit the top of that range with good form on every set, you can start to nudge the weight up a little bit and start again. Slow, boring, relentless progress. And that's the whole game. Now stick with the exercises that you choose. Ideally, I think for a minimum of 8 weeks, maybe 6, but 8 weeks is a good spot. It doesn't necessarily mean you can never change anything, but you want to keep the bulk of the workout the same. By doing that, you get good at those movements and you can make real progress over an 8-week period. And then you can make slight variations through those exercises every 8 weeks or so. This keeps it interesting, keeps it fresh, but it gives you the opportunity to actually make progress. It's so much easier when you just follow a proven plan like this. You just know that this is a staple and you can just continue pushing forward with it. So when life allows it, stick with the same exercises for at least 8 weeks before you change too much. It's long enough to clear the learning curve and actually push hard on the movement. It's going to improve your compliance, improve your consistency, and therefore just improve your results. I know it's not sexy, but it works. Then after that, you can add some accessories in. So once you've got those kind of like 6 patterns locked in and you're happy with them and you're making progress, then you can add some extras on top, maybe some bicep curls, some lateral raises for the shoulders, maybe some calf raises, some loaded carries if you want for the core and overall brute strength. For me, I train some BJJ, so extra neck and grip work and things like that makes sense for me. I've got lots of clients who like to play golf, so we add in a little bit of rotational core work there to help with their golf. It's the stuff that's on top, right? That's the icing on top of the cake. You add that in, you master the basics first with the 6 movements, and then you can add these other things in over time. The bottom line is this: if your training feels overcomplicated and you feel like you're spinning your wheels, it's almost certainly not because you need more exercises. It's probably because you need fewer and a lot more consistency with the ones that actually matter and are actually going to move the needle for you. 6 movement patterns, 3 sessions a week, 30 to 60 minutes. 1 exercise per pattern, committed for at least 8 weeks or so before you make any fancy changes. Add a rep or a little bit of weight each time. Stay flexible when family life throws curveballs, because it will. If you do that and you follow that process, you will get stronger. You'll get leaner, you'll get more durable, and it won't take over your life. That's the whole approach. That's all you need to do. And if you want a proven plan to follow, check out the 3x3 protocol in the description below. It's free. Just click the link and you can get started with it.